because you hit on something that's really near and dear to my heart. You know, people have different perception about trades versus college, and it seems like in this day and age, those perceptions are starting to change. So, talk a little bit about that whole trades or college kind of approach, and what you were getting ready to say about why not both.
Yeah, well, here's the problem. You're saying the perceptions are starting to change. The reality has never changed. It's always been you can do both. It's
Mm,
just that we believed, well, I can go this direction, I can become an apprentice and I can be a skilled craftsman, or I can go to college and become an engineer. Well, imagine taking trades classes first before you become an engineer and you design upon what the workforce needs.
that's a
You know,
much better way to develop
yeah,
engineers. That's a much better way of developing engineers.
yeah,
Yes,
because you give them a
yes,
practical experience. And
yes,
and and this is
yes,
what's missing a lot in our educational institutions, that practical experience.
yes, yes, yes.
And we see people offering classes for employability skills. I never took a class on employability skills. Where did I learn my class? Where did I learn my employability skills? By working on a minimum wage job. That's
Mm,
where it started. Okay. And we're taking people away from that. First of all, we raise the minimum wage so that's not affordable for employers to keep people that are completely lost and provide direct supervision. And you don't give them that opportunity. And so they have to get a certain skill level, a certain age level before they can work. My first job, I was only 12 years old.
mm.
I worked at GMH when I was 15. And these were, sub minimum wage rates, but it was summer training programs. That's where I learned. Okay, nobody sat down and taught me, it's kind of important to be here on time. It's kind of important to do these things when told. It's kind of important to follow directions. It's kind of important to be able to work with people, other people that you don't like. All of those you learn by doing those type of things. And yes, we made some mistakes, but those mistakes were lessons.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. Well, sorry, I didn't want to cut off your train of thought. You were talking about kind of what you were doing with industry relationships, those kind of work. You talked about the PDN aspect and all of that. Any other things that you want to talk
Yeah,
about? And the board,
uh,
yeah.
that was the advisory board. And so what the advisory board, it's a conversation with people in the community. And they're giving us feedback about what they think works, what we should be doing. And we try to do that on a regular recurring basis. It includes people like the Admiral has joined us. We've had people from the community join us. We've had,
Mm.
people from other educational institutions come join us and have this conversation about what are we doing and whether we're in the right track. Because it makes no sense to be running something and not realizing and assuming that you're making a difference and you're not. We want to make a difference.
Absolutely, absolutely. So glad to hear that. Next question. What government policies or initiatives would help you at the Trades Academy to better prepare Guam's workforce for the 21st century? Again, it might not be something directly like a grant or anything like that,
Yeah.
but just anything in general to that the Trades Academy would be benefit from in terms of government policies and initiatives.
Well, you've talked about grants and those things. This is what I have found. It's not the money. The reason people are not involved in this stuff is not because of the money. It's other factors. We started the Trades Academy with the erroneous assumption that we were doing it for apprenticeship programs. We didn't get our first apprentice for 10 years. And if we were running for an
Wow.
apprenticeship program, we would never have gotten off the ground. So the first when we first realized we're not getting apprentices, we got to do something. And so we started doing craft training programs, just running a bunch of classes. And we had no idea what type of classes were in demand until we offered them. But it's not the money that's important right now. Okay. What's important is attracting people into this program. And even contractors, trying to talk to contractors about you should be training your employees, because we get contractors coming to us and saying, hey, you want to hire your graduates. I said, if you want to hire our graduates, it's too late. You know, you can't, they already realize that they can't go down to Home Depot and buy skilled workers off the shelf. They're not in stock. And so they go, so what is the solution? And I said, well, train your employees. They go, well, what if you train them and they leave? I said, some of them are going to leave.
Yes.
Okay, you can't keep them there, and you shouldn't keep them there. If they don't want to work for you, you shouldn't keep them around because they're going to cause trouble. And I said, the worst case is to not train them and they stay. You can't be competitive in that area. And so they look at me and they ask, so what's the solution? Train your employees so they can leave, but treat them so they don't want to. You get
Yes.
the best of both worlds. And that's not original. That came from Richard Branson.
Yes.